Hey guys, I thought I'd jump on today and talk about one of the most influential things that's perhaps happened in a long time in the physiotherapy space, and that is the release of this document here from the APA that happened this week. Now, why this is exciting is this has been a long time coming. And I've spoken recently with Anne Hurst, who is the leader of the National Business Group, who's essentially done the work to produce this document. And I think it's probably one of the most fantastic things that's happened in our field for a reason. And the reason is we have finally put a price in writing as to what we think we are actually worth. And we can go through the executive summary quite quickly here, because it's quite clear physio is undervalued and undercharged for. We know we need to be able to pay staff at a rate that justifies to them the workload and the effort that goes into becoming a very good, high quality physiotherapist, especially in the private sector. It's not as easy as just rolling out of bed and seeing a full caseload. Like, these things take time. What I think's been done really well is we haven't set a floor for new graduates. And this is something that's important for people to understand, is this is not a new graduate rate. This is a generic rate for physiotherapists. The reasoning, straight from the horse's mouth, as to why was because if we set new graduate rates, and if we said, look, new grads are worth, $200 an hour, for example, which was where Ant's original work was pointing to, every third party and health insurer and compensable is going to anchor at that rate and basically say, all right, well, that's the price of physiotherapy. We're not paying any more than this. So I think that's probably one of the smartest decisions I've ever witnessed in this kind of scenario, because it shows us that, look, we've planted a flag that says this is a decent hourly rate for physiotherapy. I think it is so close to the market rate, it's not funny. I think this is where most clinics are charging somewhere between $120 and $150 for a 30-minute consult. So I think 130 sits really, really nicely, or that $130.50 figure for that 30-minute consult fits quite nicely in there. And obviously, if you're in Bondi, around a wealthy population, you're going to charge more. All the clinics in that area are going to charge more. If you are in the outer suburbs or somewhere where, money is tight, that might be a different demographic, and maybe your rates aren't going to be quite the same. It's not a universal, everybody can just apply this blanket, but it gives us a really nice, neat starting point. At the end of the day, I think even if you are in the outer suburbs, it does come back to supply and demand dynamics. And if you're one of the only therapists there, you still have the potential to charge a decent rate. What I find interesting is the number of years experience. Again, this hasn't been given a number. We originally sort of looked at the work by Ant, and it was kind of like, look, if you're 10 years out plus, that's where we should be pushing towards $300 per hour. I think years of experience, honestly, this is where you can actually bring a commercial lens to this, because my argument against the years of experience thing was always, if you can't grow a caseload, putting your price up is not going to help you. And if someone is commercially competent at 3 years out, they can comfortably charge closer to that $300 per hour rate if they have a wait list, a pipeline of people who are happy, who are asking to see them, who are requesting them, they've got referrers, etc. And I think that is where we've got to aim to get every therapist in your team towards, to be an experienced physio who's got a caseload, who's got a unique value proposition, one of the most important things. And I've released a custom GPT. It's free. It can teach your therapist or yourself even what the questions are to go through to establish what that unique value proposition is, because that is a core element of commercial competence. And that's how you can get to that $300 per hour mark. I do think, look, if you're a titled physio, again, it comes back to commercial competence. That price can absolutely go up. That's the unfortunate element of this, because the floor's been lifted from that 200 to 260, but the ceiling, which was more in the 400s, has actually come down. And most specialists can absolutely charge more than this rate. They're doing second opinion work. They're often working with people who have serious problems. They've seen multitudes of therapists for, and I know most already charge these rates. So as a minimum guide, I think that's fantastic. I hope you've got some value out of this breakdown, this is what I've been informed as the rationale underlying a lot of the decisions that were made. And honestly, I am so impressed with how this has come together. And I think the best way for practices to get on board is to look at ways you can attract more private paying patients to your practice, because at the end of the day, third parties aren't going to change. If we can get more private paying patients in doing a good job, create recurring business from those clients, we can get to a point where you can raise your fees and do so confidently, knowing that this is going to be another layer of the puzzle sorted and something you can really hang your hat on. So I think we should all be proud of our association for getting there in the end with this, and the business group that's really driven that through. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about how I can help you with your practice, especially around things like getting your fees up to a sustainable level, it's not as simple as just putting your price point up straight away. We've got to build core commercial competencies. We've got to build therapists who can retain patients. We've got to build reasonable financial structures that incentivize them. And we've got to do enough to get that repeat business flywheel going so we can confidently raise our price. The next logical step for you, if you find this interesting, is to book a call with myself. We can have a free, no obligation chat about whether the services I offer could be useful for your practice. And I absolutely think now is the best time to do it. So if you'd like to learn a bit more, have a look at the link below. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.